Alright, what do we have this week? Nintendo's at it again. More censorship. Idiotic game ideas. That and more on this week's Old Man Rages at the news for the 1st of September 2025. Before we get into the news, hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Alright, kicking off this week, another Nintendo L. And to be honest, I can't believe Nintendo is taking so many L's this year. This one being developers at Gamescom aren't able to get Switch 2 dev kits. This came from Digital Foundry's Direct Weekly, where one of the hosts, John, said Nintendo seems to be almost discouraging Switch 2 development to some degree. Where I've spoken with plenty of developers, where they were either told that their game they should just ship it on Switch 1 and rely on backwards compatibility. There's a lot of developers that are unable to get Switch 2 dev kits. We talked to a lot of devs at Gamescom this year, and so many of them said the same thing. They want to ship on Switch 2, they would love to do Switch 2 versions, they can't get the hardware. It's really difficult right now, which is a wild strategy from Nintendo. I get that there is backwards compatibility, but it would be so much better for your PR to allow people to directly develop for Switch 2, cause they sure need it right now. Almost as if they're trying to hide something, don't you think? The worst part is, the people who have the dev kits for Switch 2 have some of their games run like shit, with the only outlier so far being Cyberpunk. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo pulled what Tim Sweeney did and just blamed other people. You know what? I'm calling it. They'll just show Cyberpunk and their first party games running at 60 FPS and be like, "We aren't doing anything wrong, guys. It's the developer's fault." Now, speaking of Tim Sweeney and blaming devs, the Epic CEO blames developers at fault for the Unreal 5 performance problems. Tim Sweeney sure loves putting his head in the dirt like an ostrich here. Let's see. Wu Chang ran on Unreal 5 and performed like garbage. Stormgrade on launch performed like garbage too. Oblivion had reports that it ran poorly too. Now, what ties all of these games together? All of these games have Unreal 5 as their engine. Now, side note here, the Oblivion remake only relies for the graphics part of Unreal 5, while the rest is handled by Gamebryo, the native engine of Oblivion. I could go on, but I don't want this to take forever, so what I'm gonna say is, considering the Oblivion remake used Unreal 5 for the graphics part, and it ran poorly on some people's rigs, then this is most likely tied to that part of the game engine. But that's just me speculating. Take it with a grain of salt. Now, in an interview translated by Klaus Mager, Tim Sweeney said, and I quote, "The main cause is the order of development. Many studios build for top-tier hardware first and leave optimization and low-spec testing for the end." Well, yes, it does make sense to leave testing to the end of the project if the problem consistently appears again and again in many different areas, with the only thing in common in between them being the game engine. You know, if I was a betting man, I would put my money on it being the engine, not the developers. But that's just me. Moving on, Itch is now blocking developers of not safe for work games from being seen in the UK. Alright, where's my copy of George Orwell's 1984? Oh yeah, there it is. Remember guys, it's all just to protect the children. My ass. I mean, I was expecting this to happen sooner rather than later, but oh well. Even a fellow Redditor pointed out, yeah, no shit. People in the UK can't even open up a Discord text channel marked as not safe for work without verifying ID. And as a Swedish YouTuber once said, we are evolving, just backwards. If you do live in the UK, you can sign a petition to repeal the Online Safety Act, which already has 5 times the required signatures, but it wouldn't hurt to have more. Moving on, Xbox confirmed that Fable won't appear at Gamescom 2025. it may be delayed even further. When Xbox revealed their games lineup, Fable was nowhere to be found. Not only that, but Microsoft didn't share much about Fable to begin with. The article does point out that the Game Awards comes later this year, where Fable could potentially appear, but it's highly unlikely, with them even suggesting another delay as possible. God damn, that game's screwed most likely at this point. I mean, let's be real here. When was the game supposed to come out? I mean, it was supposed to be released by the end of this year. And it's radio silence all over. Makes you wonder. Moving on, IGN posted a video on their Twitter page related to Ghost of Yotei's DLC. Yes, the game isn't even out yet, and there's already DLC. They sure have their priorities straight, am I right? This video is from Gamescom 2025, and as you can see, all of the audience basically turned into statues and blankly stared at the video shown. I mean, can't really blame them. No emotions, nothing, just a deadpan face hoping, dear Lord, let it be over. I mean, they also did clap for it, but that clap had just about as much enthusiasm as their expressions, and barely lasted 2 seconds from the majority of the audience. Pretty sure that one guy in the back had an epileptic seizure or something and started clapping like a seal because of it. I mean, bottom line, it just goes to show that people don't want activism in their games, they just want something good to play. And I'm not sure what's worse here. Game developers announcing DLC before the game comes out, or the fact that developers think they can get away with the game itself. Look at the audience, for crying out loud. Oh, well, I mean, can't wait for Yotei to come out so that people can see the train wreck live in action. Moving on. Remember how last week people woke up from the fear of missing out loop they got trapped in and mass disliked Black Ops 7's gameplay trailer? Well, yeah, we're back at it again. Black Ops 7 is lagging behind Battlefield 6 in PlayStation 5's pre-orders. If you look at the PlayStation 5's pre-order chart on the PlayStation Store, you'll see that NBA 2026 and its premium edition, alongside Battlefield 6's premium edition, are in the top 3, while Battlefield is in 8th place. While yes, this has changed since the article released, it still shows people are fed up with the game though. Now, they're doing damage control. On their Twitter they wrote, "We know there's been a lot of conversation recently about the identity of Call of Duty. Some of you have said we drifted from what made Call of Duty unique in the first place. Immersive, intense, visceral, and in many ways grounded." That feedback hits home, and we take it seriously. And yet they added what I would call unrealistic skins to their Vault Edition. And when you dig a little bit deeper, they will not allow the skins from Black Ops 6 to carry over to 7, and on their website they say Black Ops 7 needs to feel authentic to the Call of Duty and its setting. That is why Black Ops 6 operator and weapon content would not carry forward to Black Ops 7. Double XP tokens and gobble guns will still carry forward because we recognize your time and progression are important. Now, I do also want to admit, I have no horse in this race, but as an outsider, this looks like they aren't fully interested in listening to the community. Looking at these 2 tweets that got over 2.4k likes, the only thing I care is for the customer to get a game they're happy with. Maybe that will change, who knows, only time will tell. Moving on, Ubisoft sold 5 dormant franchises to Atari, and Atari said it will re-release them on new platforms. Man, Ubisoft sure getting desperate. The 5 franchises are Child of Eden, Cold Fear, Grow Home, Grow Up, and I'm Alive. I also want to point out that near the end, IGN mentions Assassin's Creed Shadows, yet it doesn't mention how that also failed to save Ubisoft. After listing problems that happened around the community, they didn't even mention the stock price for Ubisoft whatsoever. Side note, it sits at 9.35 euro per stock. Make of that what you will. Instead, trying to hide Ubisoft's mistakes to arrange a narrative in Ubisoft's favor. Shills be shilling, I guess. Moving on, Steam is adding age verification to the platform specifically for the UK, at least for now. This was spotted on social media after someone looked at the FAQ, but at the very least, it only requires you to add a credit card. If you already have one, it will just bypass the process. Wow, this is only happening in the UK, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens in other countries. The Reddit user Kulgar also mentioned their Steam account is 21 years old and yet it still required a credit card. Just let that sink in. The government is forcing companies to parent other people's children. Man, what a time to be alive! Ugh, give me a break. Moving on, last week Failguard was given out for free. Yes, the flop that it was is given out for free. Again. And we're gonna see the results. Again. For some context here, the game was handed out before for free with PlayStation Plus and Games Pass, and now anyone who has ordered over 1,000 items from Amazon Australia between the 20th of August and the 2nd of September will get a free copy too. Now, tinfoil hat theory here. Either Amazon are trying to unload whatever copies they have on hand, or someone over there thought they should show their appreciation to their customers in a unique and disturbing way. Both are equally possible. Now, if you weren't paying attention to that park playstyle, you would have seen that it said, and still nobody's playing. What a way to rub salt in the wound. They showed Steam DB charts, and it really didn't affect the numbers whatsoever. They also speculate why this giveaway happened, and according to them, it's simple. Optics. And I can agree with that. It really reminds me of what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed Shadow and that flop of a game too. Bundle the game with something else and hope you get gamers to play it. Sadly, this is not working in Failguard's favor. You can even see the article pointing out the brutal truth. On Metacritic, it got an average of 82 from the critics, but 3.9 from users. Ergo, the score that matters. With how the game handled fans who actually loved the franchise, they felt betrayed. And here I am, looking from the side and thinking, stop it. Get some help. Moving on. The makers of Tomb Raider, Crystal Dynamics, are having a crisis with even more people being laid off. Now, if only the higher-ups weren't playing darts blindfolded with the game's themes, we wouldn't be in this situation. The numbers are unknown, and it was announced on their LinkedIn page with a statement that boils down to, "We refused to listen and now we're paying the consequences." But in the same statement, they also mentioned how Tomb Raider will be unaffected. But I wouldn't expect any news anytime soon if I were you. IGN also pointed out that the statement didn't imply Perfect Dark was the reason behind the layoffs. They did show two former staff members announcing their layoff from the studio, and both of them worked on Perfect Dark. Make of that what you will. Moving on, PayPal froze a developer's account because they made adult games. Looking at the Reddit post, the programmer mentioned they work on adult games, and a month ago they were expecting payment for a game that would have netted them roughly £80,000. They were waiting for 4 years for the payment from PayPal, and when they interviewed him, they asked where the money came from, where did they sell their game, and demanded a link to the store page. Once the original poster linked the store page, they refused to give him any of his money because it was an adult game, and neither did the lead developer get anything. With the only thing PayPal told them apparently is that it violated PayPal's terms of service. Sure, PayPal, sure. You saw something you didn't like and said, "We don't like you," but sure, it violates your terms of service. Payment processors are taking this way too far. It's an actual team of people who lose the ability to live because some higher-ups are being petty. It's fucking unbelievable. I mean, PayPal facilitates transactions on OnlyFans, but God forbid we have attractive women in an adult-themed game. And now for something utterly idiotic. Microsoft funded an illegal immigration game, aka Take Us North. And after your boy Asmongold reacted to it, the Gamescom video was set to private. Yes, Microsoft really promoted this game, both with their ID at Xbox and the Microsoft Game Dev account on X, only to hide under a rock after the Gamescom video was shown to a wider audience. Oh boy, I'm gonna need a drink after the story. That's not all though. Gothic Therapy also discovered that Sweet Baby Inc. and even the United Nations are connected to the game. They also discovered that the Wings co-founder, Audrey LePrince, personally promoted the project. But wait, there's more. Gothic Therapy also dragged another group to the spotlight, Clever Endeavor, who also poured money into the game, and conveniently, Clever Endeavor bankrolled Wings' 2025 Elevate program, the same program designed to push, quote, marginalized voices into the gaming spotlight. The game was also presented at the United Nations under the codename The American Dream 9 months ago. Oh boy. If only things ended here, I would have been like, yay! But no, they also privated their Twitter account and their website after being exposed by the internet. Smash JT also documented that Carla Rias, I'm not even gonna figure the name out, also erased her personal account with the company's Instagram set to private. Welcome to the Streisand effect, motherfuckers, where the more you hide, the more people become aware of your nonsense. I hope you enjoy your stay, and remember, the internet doesn't forget. And finally, we're about to have some fun with a bunch of idiots. Yep, you guessed it, collective schizophrenia is back on the menu. And they could get punished apparently, with Madame Savvy filing reports for both the UK and Australia against what I presume is Collective Shout for maliciously denying her gender, which is female. I don't know if something will come of this, but I sure as hell hope so. And while I personally hope they learn their lesson and crawl back to whatever hellhole they came out of and leave gamers alone, I'm not gonna hold my breath on that front just yet. Now, the reason why I assume it's Collective Shout is because in another tweet, she pointed out that this insane group tried to frame her as a man. So much for being a feminist. Maybe they used that to grift too, but I'm just speculating at this point. If you want more details, go check out Savvy's video, it will be in the sources. Now, according to the documentations regarding the Australians E-Safety Commission, Juliet Inman Graham, Global Alliance for Responsible Media, never shut down. She was having conversations praising their proactive approach to censoring Donald J. Trump and attacking X after Elon Musk took over. Now, side note here, you might not agree with people on the internet, but censoring them only shows that, well, you know, you might be in the wrong here. Inman being part of OC, and all the information that Ada Savvy showed came to light because Senator Alex Antic kept pushing for this to become public. Madam Savvy mentioned that it was just a global plot and added that Inman was pushing age verification, and Melinda Tankard is sitting at the board of the trial for age verification, while adding that many of the big companies are part of FOSI. This whole thing, as she mentions, comes off as people with power getting to choose who speaks and who doesn't. Also, to finish things off with a funny note, Grok slapped, of course metaphorically, Ellis Kennedy in the face and used facts against her irrational arguments. And surprisingly, it was very effective. Now, feel free to read it. The funnier part is that her account got locked and she was forced to delete the initial tweet that made Grok respond in order to unlock her account. Fuck around and find out is my favorite praise for a reason. But anyways, that's it for this week. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.